As promised, there he is. What's on your mind this week?
I don't really have anything on my mind right now, so we're just looking forward to getting going. Obviously, we feel like these next 2 weeks are important for us to have good weeks. We got through Dover with, not as good a day as we thought we should have had. Obviously, we knew that was going to be a tough weekend for us based upon, just everything we've done in the past. So these next 2 weeks are going to kind of set the tone for our particular team, and they're important. So we just got to get off on the right foot here in practice and go through the weekend and race hard.
Good stuff. Who's first? Bob?
Bob Cocker, Scene Daily. Do you go back and try to figure out what happened on those last few tire runs from Dover, or because there's no other applicable track in the chase, do you just not worry about it?
Well, I think we, the last two runs weren't good for us. Our car just got loose, and we'd been so good for us all day, running in the top 10, and felt like we were going to have a decent day, and the car just went away that next to last run, and we really thought that it was just the tires, and we didn't change anything, and the car reacted the same as we put the second set of tires on. So obviously we just lost track of the racetrack and needed to make an adjustment on our car. So just made a decision to not make any changes, and it just stayed the same.
Shannon, raise your hand.
Hey, Kevin. Shannon Spake, ESPN. I know we went into this chase really not knowing who could be a contender for the championship. And after a couple weeks, who do you see truly as people that are emerging, teams that are emerging, that could be your biggest threat?
I think it's just wide open. I mean, you look at it, and I think there's 3 or 4 teams that are far enough back to probably, you can narrow down a few. You can count a few of them, unless they have spectacular weeks, are probably out of it, or going to have a tough time getting back into it. But everything else is so tight. It's just gonna come down to not making mistakes and losing the least amount of points as possible. I don't think there's any clear-cut favorite. The 48 always runs good at Dover. I really expected the 18 to finish well at Dover. He kind of had the same fall off as we did the last couple runs. So I think it's wide open right now. I think you just got to go out and try to get the best finishes that you can, because I think every point's going to matter when you get towards the end of the race or towards the end of the chase.
Claire, raise your hand for our helpers. There you go.
Claire B. Lang, Sirius NASCAR Radio. Kevin, as a team owner and also as a driver, on the appeals process, there's been a lot of discussion about whether a Waddell Wilson or a Lynn St. James or a USAC person can fairly judge, of not being an engineer or, within the sport currently. But the other side of it is when you judge a murder trial, it's neighborhood people who are not forensic scientists and are not doctors. Is the process fair right now? Is someone like a Waddell Wilson or a Lynn St. James, are they capable, know enough about it to be able to judge?
We've been through a couple of appeals processes ourselves at KHI, and I didn't even get involved in them, to be honest with you. So I know how it works, but from the politics side of it, I look at that as the politics side of it, and it's not something that I really have gotten too deep into, because it's not something that's in your favor as far as the way that you've already got the penalty and you've already got the outcome. So from my standpoint, I've just stayed out of it and really don't really have an opinion one way or the other on how the whole process works.
Rusty, raise your hand.
Rusty Ball, NASCAR Media Group. You sounded optimistic about the next couple of weeks, and that's what I wanted to ask you about California. You had a pretty good finish last time we were there, and obviously it's probably pretty special too to be going back to California to race.
Yeah, I feel like I let one slip away there, just making a mistake getting into the wall there at the end. We still obviously had a good finish. Jeff ran really well there too. So we're looking forward to going back. Obviously, a lot can change. It's been a hot summer, and the racetrack will be different, but it's been a good racetrack for us over the last couple of years, and we're really looking forward to going back. So we need to, like I say, we need to capitalize over the next couple of weeks on making something happen.
Nate, raise your hand.
Nate Ryan, USA Today. Kevin, you talked about the next 2 weeks being key. Is that because this is the first of 4 1.5 mile tracks, and then California's a 2 mile track? Is that why this is a key stretch, maybe not just for you, but for everybody in the chase at this point?
Yeah, I think this is kind of a lead into to what the chase is going to hold as far as the 1.5 mile racetracks. And the biggest key for us is these 2 weeks lead into Charlotte, which is what we felt was our second Achilles heel in the whole thing. So we just have to go into not defense mode, but just try to minimize the damage like we did at Dover. Obviously I don't feel like we got the maximum potential out of what we had at Dover, but it's important for us to keep that gap as close as possible to first, whoever it may be, and come out of Charlotte. I mean, that's really why the next 2 weeks are important for us as the 29 team goes.
Jamal, raise your hand.
Jamal Brown, ESPN. Kevin, you hear the term mental toughness thrown around a lot. How does that apply to you and your team, each race and throughout the chase?
I think we have a lot of different. Gil's very good at leading the team and keeping everybody calm, because I'm pretty high strung as far as what happens on the racetrack and things like that. So he's good at keeping them calm, and he keeps everybody calm, really, including myself. So that's a good balance between the two of us. I can be myself and not have to worry about backtracking on what I said and who I need to apologize to for something I said on the radio. He takes care of all that, and as you go through these 10 weeks, the mental grind of the whole process is a lot, because it's all you think about constantly, and this is what we all race for. We all want to win a championship. We all want to be in position to win a championship, and this is the time to make it happen. So it's just like flipping a light switch when you get into Loudon and you get into the last 10 weeks. It's just a whole different mindset, and knowing that every point matters. It's not like the last 10 weeks before that had been where nothing really mattered. So it's just two totally different mindsets from where we were to where we are right now.
Steve, raise your do you have a follow, Jamal? Let's give Jamal a mic.
Just off of last week, how does that play into with what happened with you and Denny last week? Is that part of the games that you guys play, or was that just...
I don't think there was any games. That was all pretty serious. I think everything was pretty serious as far as where we were coming from as a company and where we were coming from as a team. I think where Denny and I stand is very clear between the two of us as far as off the racetrack and on the racetrack. But when it comes down to knowing what's right for your company and what's right for your team, those are two different things. So. Our team is excited and pumped up, and we all feel like, that everything's clear.
Steve
Richards of PR. And just to follow up with Jamal real quick, did you answer Denny's call right away? Did you make him sweat?
I don't think there was ever going to be an issue with myself and Denny off the racetrack. Obviously, in the garage, it doesn't matter who your friends are or what happens away from the racetrack. It's all about what's happening at the racetrack and what's right and wrong for your particular race team. Obviously, it evolved into what it was, but off the racetrack it was fairly simple for us to talk.
And being from Bakersfield, were you kind of sad to see California lose a race?
I want what's best for the sport, and what's best for the sport is full grandstands, and they always had good crowds when they had one race, and I think they'll have a good crowd for one race, and some markets are just not two race crowds, and I think that the best thing for the sport are full grandstands and people that enjoy our sport, and if that requires going to some different markets and shaking things up, I hope that we can continue to do that as we go forward, because when people watch on TV and the grandstands are full, they want to be there too.
Shannon.
Coming into the chase, you obviously had a little bit of downtime, vacation time, whatever you want to call it, before the chase started. You've sort of been in both scenarios now, right up to the wire, getting into the chase, and now having a little bit of time to relax. What's this been like for you, going from sort of vacation mode, I can just go out and try to win races, to then, like you said, the light switch, having to turn it on and be very aggressive in the chase?
It's been, it's hard to just flip that switch one week. Obviously, we rebounded at Loudon and got a good finish, and we all knew that Dover could be the place, and it always seems to have started that way in the chase, that the second race was Dover, and it hasn't been a great place for us. So, but flipping that switch on isn't hard. We all knew what was coming, and I feel like everybody on our team flipped that switch when it was time to go, and you know, everybody was well prepared to do what they needed to do with the cars, and we scramble well to chase things that when they aren't going well, and that's always been something that RCR is very good at, is making something out of nothing. And I think you could look back at Richard's whole career, whether it be owner, driver, and how he got to this point, and he's just installed that scramble mode into all of us to get something when there's nothing there to get. So we did that at Loudon. We gave probably 3 or 4 spots away at Dover, but if it comes down to the last 3 or 4 weeks and scrambling, I feel like we can do that as good, or if not better, than most everybody.
Jenna, and then we'll finish up with Padley.
Jennifer, AP. I asked Jeff this same question. Clint said that the championship's over for him, and going forward, he's just going to try to be the best teammate he can be and help you and Jeff win the championship. What can he do to help you guys?
Well, I think, you know, it's going to allow him to get out of the box, to try things that maybe we don't want to try, because we have to be a little bit more conservative on the performance side of it, whether it be you know, an engine that the engine shop may want to put in, or parts and pieces that maybe the engineering department finds that they feel are going to be better but aren't proven on the racetrack. So all those things can go into his car, and they can go into just worrying about winning races and really being aggressive, and they haven't got to do that in a while. So he can do that, and that's probably the best thing he can do.
Jim, right there beside you.
Yeah, Jim Pedley with RacingToday.com. Kevin, it's doubtful that anybody in the garages thought that the 48 team was going to struggle once the chase started, but I assume a lot of people were hoping he would. What's the impact when he comes out in the second race at a chase and posts a big victory like that?
What's the impact? I'm sorry.
The emotional impact on the rest of the chasers when he comes out and wins.
You know, I don't think that there's really. I don't think it's impacted us at all, just for the fact that, you know, at Dover he's going to run really well. So, you know, I've said from weeks and weeks and weeks ago that the 48 was going to be someone that you had to contend with, and was the favorite still to win the championship until somebody beats him. So here we are again, 2 weeks in, and there they are. So you're going to have to beat them.
Thank you, Kevin. Good luck this weekend.